The Walther PPS M2, let's check it out. The Walther PPS M2 was introduced in 2016, which was an upgrade over the original PPS Classic. They're both very thin handguns. One of the things about the PPS that's really advantageous, it's so thin, so easy to carry. And not only is the PPS super thin, it also handles like a full-size firearm. Now this review is a GetZone.com exclusive. This will not be shown anywhere else, including YouTube. I really appreciate GetZone because they are a strong Second Amendment supporter, and it's great to have social media that believes the way we do. Walther really kind of takes a different approach to their firearms. They usually have two different models and two different styles, and that's what we have here with the original PPS, which is really close to the P99 design as far as the way the frame and everything is laid out, to the M2 model, which is more like the PPQ. And yet they still offer both of these models on the Walther website, and they offer the P99 and the PPQ on their website. Now, of course, before we get started, let's go ahead and drop the magazine, check the chamber on both guns. We do have a paddle release here on the original, and then check the chamber, and it's empty as well. We are going to be doing a comparison review with the new CCP M2 versus the PPS, and that's coming up pretty quickly, which is another single stack 9mm that goes along with the PPS. But one of the big things about the PPS is how thin it is. And it doesn't change from the original, but they call this the Classic. I mean, it's just a super thin handgun. Now, there are a couple of other differences between the two besides just the mag release. Of course, this has your M2 mag release, which is right here on the frame. But one thing the M2 has is the front cocking serrations, but yet it lacks a Picatinny rail, which there's just one section for an accessory rail on the original PPS. The Classic PPS also has interchangeable back straps. There are two different ones. Here's the large, and then we have the small. Then when it comes to the new M2 PPS, there's no additional back straps. It just is what it is. Now, the magazines themselves are also something that's a little bit different. As you can see, we have the extended mags here, and really, overall, they look almost identical, but they are not interchangeable. One reason why is because the base pad rides up against the different models. But if you'll notice right here, the mag release is different, and this is the Classic than it is on the M2. Now, you get 6+1 with the flush base plate. You get 7+1 with this base plate, and then there is another one that does 8+1. Here you can see the difference in the texturing. With the M2, of course, you have all these squiggly lines, again, just like the PPQ. And then we have dots and lines that are a little bit more, just straight up. I mean, it's more uniform, more orderly. This has a little bit more stylized, but this gives you a really solid grip. And, of course, here you can see that the slides themselves do have some slight differences. Now, the M2 only comes in 9mm, and it's 7+1. The flush fit is 6+1 in the magazine, and again, you can get an 8+1. It's got, again, the same ergonomics as your PPQ. It feels really great. Now, this is a very thin handgun, and so it's really excellent for concealed carry. It rides really close to the body. The slide does have a matte Tenifer finish, according to Walther. You've got the Walther here with the front cocking serrations, of course, PPS. Same thing on the other side. The barrel is also Tenifer finish. It's 3.1 inches in length, which is the same for the Classic. And again, the mag release, which almost has like that frag pattern on it, really easy to deploy. It definitely ejects the magazines very well. Now, we do have the flush fit magazine on here, and I'm going to show you the extended magazine. just to show you the difference. And it just gives you a full grip on the pistol. Of course, you know, you have it hanging off just a little bit with the flush base plate, but it shoots like a full-size pistol. And that's one thing that I really like with a concealed carry piece, but you do have the option of dropping that smaller magazine just to make it, again, easier to conceal. The slide stop's very minimal, and you can release it, but it's a little tough to grab hold of, but you can do it. And then we have our takedown levers right here, which is, of course, very similar to Glock, but yet a little bit easier to grab. A little closer look at those squiggly lines, and you have little palm swells, but yet it's really thin, very minimal. We have steel 3-dot sights, and there's a ton of different options, and I believe these are the same sights that they use on the classic model. Now right here you'll notice this little dot. That means that the striker is cocked, and we're going to check it again to make sure it's unloaded. We're going to pull the trigger and it disappears. Here with the classic PPS, it's marked in red, disappears, and then again with the M2. But one thing I'm going to show you about this little striker indicator, watch when I pull the trigger. It actually extends out and then goes back in. With the flat base plate, it's 6.3 inches in length, it's 4 1/4 inches in height, and it is 1 inch in thickness. As far as trigger pull goes, we have some take up, a little bit of resistance, and then a nice break. Reset right there. Check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 5 pounds 7 ounces, 5 pounds 9.3 ounces, 5 pounds 13 ounces. Walther says that it is a 6-pound trigger pull, and I'm finding it just a little bit less than that. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made right here in the USA. Good shooting stuff. One of the big appeals of this firearm is how thin it is. I mean, it just rides really close to the body, and for concealed carry, it's just one of those type guns that, you know, you can wear all day. Taking it to the range, of course, we had Walther reliability. I mean, there was no malfunctions whatsoever, and the quick reset of the trigger was really nice. It has a really good trigger in it. Of course, it's very reminiscent of the PPQ, but just, again, a lot thinner. With a 7-round extension, you get a good full grip on the handgun. The sights show up really well, and, you know, it was really just a lot of fun to take to the range. And that's one of the things about a small concealed carry option, is sometimes taking it to the range can be somewhat of a chore. But this will give you a lot of confidence in a self-defense situation. Okay, let's disassemble the firearm. We're going to drop our magazine, check to make sure the gun is unloaded. One thing I do want to show you first off is that without the magazine inserted, you can still fire the pistol. So there's no magazine disconnect, which is a big plus for me. Now pull back on the slide just 1/8 of an inch, pull down your levers, and the slide just comes right off. We have our double recoil springs. This is a polymer guide rod. And then we have our barrel. And of course you can see you have your feed ramps right here that are polished. Interior of the slide, you have your firing pin striker safety. But fit and finish, of course, is excellent. It does have really beefy slide rails. They're fairly long, which I definitely like. And it's extended all the way down this side of the frame on the other side. That's a lot more than most of your striker fire pistols. But as you can see with the crucible and the way this thing is set up, it's very Glock-like. Guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. Let's drop in our barrel, just in reverse order. Recoil spring and guide rod. Bring it back over those long rails. And we're ready for the range. Or for self-defense. Now with the PPS M2, there are a number of different models. There's a law enforcement model that comes with 3 magazines. There's night sight versions, there are laser versions. One that I find really interesting is the MRSC, which has RMR cuts here where you can run a red dot. I think that's pretty cool. Of course, you'd want suppressor height sights. So you can go to the Walther website and check that out. Now, as far as price goes, this is very interesting. I know that the original PPS Classic was a lot more expensive than their CCP. It was really just, some of the fit and finish was just really excellent on these. They seem to be a little bit more precision made. But what I'm finding, these are from all the way from $300 to $399 typically. I was on Palmetto State's website and happened to run across one of these on special for like $269.99. I mean, it was a phenomenal deal. I don't know how long that's going to last, and by the time you watch this video, it may or may not be still going. But typically, you can expect to pay about, anywhere from $300 to $400 for this handgun. The PPS Classic is still on the website. I personally like that they've removed the bag strap option because they were having a few issues with the bag strap not staying in place on the PPS original or the Classic. And so this to me just solidifies it. It's a little bit more of an ergonomic, a lot more ergonomic grip for that matter. Really, to me, the only thing you're really losing with the M2 is just a slot right here for a light or laser. And with this small gun like this, I don't typically run lights on these type guns anyway. So if you're looking for a nice, thin, single stack 9mm pistol for concealed carry or even for home defense, the Walther PPS M2 is an excellent choice. There's a lot of great features, Walther quality, and especially if you already own a PPQ. This would be a great option for, a little deeper concealed carry. Now obviously they make the PPQS, which is a double stack, but yet a very small handgun. But if you really want to get that hand around this grip, and yet it's really thin, I think the PPS M2 is an excellent choice for concealed carry. And again, guys, this is a GetZone.com exclusive. Guys, we need to support social media that is pro-Second Amendment. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Kind of broke things up a little bit. Is that wind? What's that wind doing? Comparison between this. Okay. Now with the fat base plate, and then we have our takedown pins right here, which I just released.